Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Well, good morning in-game, that is. We are playing another episode of The Forest. I'm happy to welcome you along. I built a couple sections of wall over there. I did want to leave a little bit of our construction project open. Right now, I'm huddling next to a fire because the weather has rapidly gone soft on us. I'm not necessarily sure why this is called soft weather because it can really be hard on your health. But anyways, let's get out of here. I think today we're going to go on a little exploratory journey. I've noticed that I haven't done a whole lot of exploring off in this direction of the map. We have a ton of energy right now. Our stomach is reasonably full, and so I think this is probably a pretty good time. Oh my god, blinded off the side of the lake. That happens to me every time I go camping too. You walk over a hill, there's a lake, and you're blind. And you're just like, oh my god. First thing in the morning, my eyes have now been molested by the magnificent rays of the sun. Great. I'm going to walk off. We're not going to go down to the lake because we've already pretty much explored that. Instead, I think the large extent of our journey this time is going to be based around following the beach over here. I just kind of want to see where it goes, and I want to see where we end up if we just follow this around. And so, with that in mind, I think I'll invite you along. Oh, we've actually already found something interesting. There's a cannibal village down there. Anyway, so as I was saying, with that in mind, I'd like to invite you along with me. Let's go have a look since we've got the ultimate weapon of god domination here. I'm going to go down and this is essentially the BFG of this game. So, I mean, it's a little bit underwhelming as a BFG. Oh my god, that's way up there. That seems like it took effort. A lot of effort, in fact. I'm not sure that I'm that motivated to string somebody up. I mean, there was some serious climbing involved in that. God, somebody's got core strength, and it is not me. My core is quite lackluster. It is unimpressive. By all respects. Ooh, a free flare. I'll take that. Couple of rocks in over here. Is there anything that ooh, mud. There we go. Cover ourselves in mud so that now we're in predator mode and things can't get us. Well, I mean, they can still get us, but it makes us at least a little bit more camouflaged from our very hungry enemies. You would think that eventually they would run out of people and so they would start eating something else, but they only really seem to be interested in human. Ooh, blackberries. Don't mind if I do. Alright. So if you eat the wrong kind of berries, in case you were wondering, it doesn't like murder you instantly. If you eat the wrong kind of berries, he'll just go, ugh! And he'll make like some generic sound. And basically you lose a tiny bit of health, and that's all. There's no real comeuppance at the moment for totally screwing up and binging out on a bunch of poisonous mushrooms. It's not like real life anyways. Where I live, people are always, they have a problem where I live where they have to put up signs all the time for people not to eat the mushrooms because they're super poisonous, because we had a lot of like immigration to this area, and I guess wherever the people come from, like the mushrooms that are around are okay, and they look just like the ones that we have here. And so every now and again we get a family that comes here and uses them to make like a stew or something, and they end up just either getting stomachs pumped or dying, which is horrible. I mean, so every now and again, you'll see like little signs up in our parks or whatnot, be like, do not eat these mushrooms. They will kill you in like several hours. They are terrible for you. These things are essentially made out of arsenic and cyanide combined, and that's about as far as they ever got on the chemical chart. A bunch more sticks and things to loot, but not necessarily anything that I'm interested in. I do want to find some fish. I would love to get some fishing done while we're on our adventure out here. We'll make ourselves a small little cook fire, maybe huddle around it for a while, feel a little bit primal. You know what I mean? Get in touch with nature. I don't know how the island looks either. I don't think I've ever circumnavigated it, just walked around the edge of the island. And so I'm really thinking that's kind of what I want to do today. Get a feel for everything. Figure out where stuff is at. And so I'm going to start naming landmarks after people. I'm going to call this the Jarl's Wall after the Jarl's Den. And I'm just going to start naming things so that I get them into my head so they become part of the internal map that I've developed. So this is the Jarl's Wall, and so there you go, Jarl's Den. One of my longtime fans who's been watching for a very long time, you now have your own landmark, and we got a rainbow going up there. It's trying to convince us to be cheery, but frankly, with the amount of things that have tried to kill me lately, I'm having a lot of trouble digging deep and finding my laughter right now. It's something that seems to be escaping me. Like some slightly granitic or like dioritic rock over here. Cool. I'm a geologist, by the way, so I tend to look at random stuff on maps and be like, oh my god, look at all the places. There's hornblende in it. That tends to be a major side effect for me, or at least a side stop. Can I cross the water without anything bad happening? Because it looks like there's so much more to explore over there. I don't know if I'm actually confined to this part of the island right here. It's an interesting thing to ponder. And it looks like it's traversable. I've heard that the bad guys can run along the bottom of the water like Navy SEAL style, though. Like they do all kinds of crazy, ridiculous amphibious assault action. So we probably want to be a little bit wary of that, considering I don't know if flares can be fired underwater. That is a parcel of information that I do not have fully wrapped right now. Oh well. I do think that there's some sort of connection here that we're going to be able to come across. I find that a lot of this game is just kind of the mystique of walking around and finding new stuff. Like once you've got your base set up and you've got the basic food supplies that you need, exploration becomes the name of the game. And much like Miasmata, I'm having a lot of fun just walking around in this game and seeing new stuff. Now if we come up that gully right... Well, if you sort of see... The flares are a little bit weird. You see where my flare went? Over there. Like you can see it bouncing around. If we go up that gully right there, it's going to take us back to the lake. And so we don't want to do that. We do, however, want to come up with some kind of food stock. I mean, the blackberries allowed us to get a little bit further, but those do such a little amount to remedy the fact that we're starving that I'm beginning to think we may want to do a little bit of hunting on the way. But that was ultimately the point of this anyways. And so this is the backside of what I'm going to call, I don't know, maybe I'll call it the Jarl's Maw because it goes all the way around like a lower jawbone. Maybe we'll call it that. It's the Jarl's Maw. That's the name of this little, that right there. That mountain range is the Jarl's Maw. There we go. I'm going to follow this around. We're going to jump the river right here. We're going to follow that out that way. If we have to make ourselves a shelter for the evening, then that's what we'll do. But for right now, I've got the explorer's itch today. At least that's what I'm going to say that itch is. I'm sure it has nothing to do with any of my previous indiscretions. But something is definitely itching, and I feel the best way to deal with the rash is probably just to walk around. I don't even know if the map is fully developed. We may walk on out here somewhere and find ourselves kind of coming to the edge of the assets and getting to locations where textures are no longer available and things like that. And I enjoy those little snippets of games. Like, once games are fully developed, I don't know, I like finding missing stuff in games. For example, I remember when I played Warhammer Online, I found a spot where you could jump over a wall. Basically, you could walk up a hill like this, and they had missed a clipping plane, and you could walk over the hill, and on the other side of the hill, there was an entire map with no NPCs, a giant castle that apparently they were going to use for an expansion or a DLC at some point, and me and a friend of mine just wandered around out there for like an hour and a half looking at this zone that was unpopulated, wasn't in the game as of right now. It was just sort of there. Now, the other problem that comes along with exploring like this is we may take ourselves outside of the range of anything edible, and so I'm not going to wander. Actually, I've got a couple of chocolate bars. We'll probably be okay. Worst comes to worst, I can make a... Ooh, let's put on the lizard skin, too. So putting on the lizard skin, I think they're going to... Right now, you see how he's looking at his hand? I think they're going to add armor later on. Like, they're going to add tribal armor that adds to your character bit by bit and piece by piece. And I will be happy at the point that I can make myself armor out of human skin and also fingernails. Like, it'll be like scale mail, but made out of fingernails. How gnarly would that be? I would never fight a guy with scale mail made out of fingernails. That would be a dude that I knew was just outside the breadth of my skill set. I think I might be right about the fact that a lot of the assets may not have been added to the map just yet. I'm not sure on it, so I'm not going to proclaim it too loudly. But we're still going to have a look around. I'd love to find a fishing pond. That's sort of what I'm looking for right now. If we could find a fishing pond, that would put us in the best situation ever, because then we could spear a couple of those little bad boys. We just eat them over the next couple coming days, because I think fish give you full hunger restoration. There's trees growing out of water. I'm going to go out on a limb right now and say that we're on the edge of the development zone, and we're probably not going to find anything out here. I also notice a distinct lack of cannibals or anything like that. Luckily, our base is marked, otherwise I'd be getting myself... I'm not disoriented at all right now, I do want to point that out, but as we get further and further away, I feel as though I would probably become more and more disoriented, especially if I got separated from this little lake right here, or they do stuff like this where they start splitting up the island by these little rivers and things. Yeah, I think this more than likely is an undeveloped area. Like an area that just has nothing added to it just yet. It seems to be mostly grass. I could be wrong. We could come over the hill and find ourselves in the middle of a giant cannibal camp. But I don't see it. I just don't see it. What would be kind of a cool idea is eventually if you could hop in between islands and each island had different cannibal tribes and they would all fight with each other and you would actually have the option to befriend some of them. And so they would have kind of a... Oh, there's some stuff laying around over here. Maybe it is partially developed. I don't know. This definitely appears to be the edge, though. Okay, that's kind of cool. Well, I'm glad we went on this little excursion. Let's see if we can hunt something on our way back, because our stamina is rapidly dropping. But as I was saying, it'd be kind of nice if they implemented a system in which there would be some sort of reputation between tribes. I saw somebody mention this on a forum, and I thought to myself, yeah, that sounds actually really cool. That sounds sort of Mountain Bladey, if I can use that as, I don't know, an adverb, I guess. But anyways, it sounds like one of those things that would be really cool where you could play the tribes against each other. Like maybe you give one of the tribes a flare gun, and that gives them an advantage in combat. And once you've done that, you can like irreparably damage yourself with all the other tribes because now you've given one the technological superiority. Just weird little things like that that would make the game a bit more robust. Obviously, this game is incredibly early in its development cycle. In fact, so early that it's difficult to predict right now where the game is even going to go. I think we're in like the 0.001 version of the game, which is about as early in development as you can possibly get. I mean, they're basically, the planes of water aren't even installed right now, so lots and lots of little things that are not completed. And I'm excited about seeing the patch cycles for this game. That's one of those overarching. I like that they give you a countdown till the next patch too on the splash screen. On the title screen, it says that there's 10 days till the next content patch. And I like that they keep themselves on a schedule and that the developers have a sense of, you know, this needs to be released at this time. Now we'll see if they end up pushing those back over and over and over again. I will rapidly become disenfranchised. But up until that point, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and assume that they're going to be dropping those content patches every single time that counter hits 0, or at least within a small hourly radius of the patch hitting 0 or the counter hitting 0. I can't see any clouds or anything. It's got like a weird foggy disposition going on right now that's barring my view. And so now we're back into the stuff that appears to be designed. Let's be very careful as we wander around. I have heard that there are caves all over the place, and judging by what we saw in the previous cave that we went into, they appear to have dangers that are much, much worse than anything out on the surface. I hear the sound of water falling in a hollow container. Maybe there's a cave around here somewhere? Or maybe it's underfoot and the sound effect is just playing through. I don't know. Let's look. Oh, we found one of their villages. Let's be very careful, especially since being one-shotted is on the line. Creep my way in here. They don't tend to hang out around their houses very much. One thing that I've seen as I've been playing, they don't tend to hang out. I think they go out on little hunting parties every now and again. I hope those 3 that I killed were not the only ones on the island. There's another flare. In the case of darkness, here they are. Poisonous twin berries. Don't eat these. These are bad. They will harm you. They definitely do not have your best. You wouldn't think that berries could be evil because they're round and rotund, and they just kind of strike me as being sort of merry. The merry berries. Not only that it rhymes, I do wish that I could destroy their houses by setting them on fire. I hope that's a feature that they add too, where you can burn down their villages, get totally real about this whole thing, and turn it into medieval combat where we're just burning down the peasant houses, getting our Trogdor on. Still, I don't think there's going to be much to find here, but I am going to go through all these houses and just see what's around. I think flares are about the extent of the advanced weaponry you can pick up right now. The flares aren't really that helpful either. You just use them as a light source, as you might assume. Oh, the music just turned on. That usually means somebody's seen you. Okay. Definitely getting a little bit metal right now. Bunch of tables. We'll probably break all these open in just a moment. Wow. Bad day to be that guy. I don't even know what body part is sticking out on him. Like, he's protruding body parts that I didn't even know existed. Holy hell. And they seem to be using tennis rackets to good effect over here, along with as many tennis balls as you can possibly carry. Jesus. The game, one thing I will say is that the developers have a good sense for horrifying imagery. It's a weird thing to say, but everything that I've seen so far... Oh, that bunny? We need to... Oh, we already have a bunny. Well, here, let's consider setting up a little campfire over here. We'll cook dinner. And we'll just kind of wait this thing out and see if we can wipe out another aspect of their tribe. So there's the little fire. Let me get a bunny out here. We'll throw the bunny on the campfire, and hopefully this one doesn't bug out. Most of the problems that I've seen so far seem to be related to the fact that the larger campfire isn't sure how to deal with the stuff that you're cooking. So I think this should be okay. They don't take that long to cook either, so the little tooltip should pop up in just a moment to let us know that our bunny is ready to be devoured. Come on, so hungry right now. Want that Hassenpfeffer. Let's do this thing. Let's get down. Dinner time. This music is kind of terrifying. It's making me nervous. There we go. So we've eaten a bunny. We are now all full up, which means that we can murder that other bunny wherever the hell it went. That was the main reason that I wanted to eat right now, is because the other bunny would be useful to us at the moment. Well, we already have a Komodo dragon, but we could kill that one to get its skin. Get on top of something here. Let's see if maybe... Oh, there's a bunch of bunnies over there. Alright, well, let's go ahead, and it looks like the only cannibal that's here is actually dead right now. So let's take a moment, and I'm going to get a axe out. We're going to bust open all of these storage cases. It's pretty grisly. Pretty brutal. Pretty metal. I think that's just a rock. It looked like a backpack for a second, so I was like, can I loot you? Break these open very quickly. Nothing in that one. Murder a bunny. I think the bunny furs are going to be useful later, too. From what I've seen, it looks like you skin the bunny first, but it doesn't add the skin to your inventory. So I'm guessing there's going to be all kinds of armor crafting and stuff later on. I mean, why wouldn't there be? Get rid of all those, because we definitely don't need any tennis balls right now. We don't need any lean, mean, green fun time. Green, fuzzy fun time. Although I had a cat for a while that really loved tennis balls. They were her favorite toy. You gave her a tennis ball, she would just try and murder that thing all day long. I see a bunch of feathers over here. I'm going to loot them both. I don't think there's actually anything over here. We're doing a pretty good job of canvassing the camp and making sure that we got everything, but refilling your stock of chocolate bars, never a bad plan. I think that's everything. I believe we got everybody roped in right now. I don't see any other problems around here that need to be dealt with. I was hoping that there would be a bunch of cannibals out here that we could fight, or at least get ourselves into marginal trouble with. Unfortunately, they don't seem to be of the troublemaking kind. So we filled up, we've left them a little bit of fire, we've left them a flare gun so that we can be on the same technical standing later on, but I doubt that they'll use it. Oh, alcohol. Okay, I'll take you. Alcohol's funsies. Money laying on the ground right there. You can use the money to stoke fires, but that's the only use for it right now. The only use that I've seen anyways. What about this pond over here? Is this a fish pond? Ooh. Another storage case. 2 storage cases. How many goodies can we carry? There we are. Got ourselves a lot of RX meds. I mean, we've got a ton of pharmaceuticals. Still carrying around a severed head, weirdly enough. Kind of a strange thing to be toting along, but I guess you gotta carry what you gotta carry sometimes. It's the only way to stay ahead of the competition. Ho ho, there it is. You guys knew it was coming somewhere in there. I'm willing to bet. Yep, and I was right. My guess was that they would have all the fish over here because it's right next to their base and it's a good supply of food. Why wouldn't you make a village next to these little ponds? Obviously, they're probably going to run out of humans pretty frequently, so this very likely becomes a frequent concern for them. I am going to eat all their mushrooms, though. Probably not going to make me popular with them. I'm probably going to owe them some money, which is going to make them even angrier. Let's spear these little bad boys. Oh, I missed. It's a lot harder than it looks. Not in game, but in real life, spearing a fish is a giant pain in the ass. Because the refraction of the water makes the fish look like it's a different spot than it actually is. There we go, we got him. I love the little animations and things, just the things that add to the immersion, like the fish squiggling on the end of the stick. I love stuff like that. Even though the game is incomplete, you could definitely tell that the developers have a sense for what things should look like and like what should happen. The random psychological feedback you get from hunting different animals, like the little things that need to happen in order to make things feel a bit more satisfying. I'm gonna step down into the water now. Ah, I missed. Now we're swimming, which is going to wash off my mud. Got him. There we go. I don't know how many raw fish I can carry. I think 3 is the maximum amount of raw fish. Got, what, 2 of them right now? Okay, let's see if we can get a 3rd one. And that'll be our scientific test to see how many of these we can carry. Here, fishy, 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 fishy. That works, by the way. Ah, I fell into the pond. Got him. And I think we are about stocked up on fish. I'm pretty sure you can only carry 3. After that, it just wastes the fish. So we'll save those for later. Let me get a reasonable bearing for where the fish pond is from our base. So it looks like... Well, I couldn't really tell you. I don't know if the spear is any good for fighting, by the way. I've never tried the spear in a fight. It might be okay. Seems to be pretty good for busting open luggage. That's for sure. So if you are a luggage thief, think about a pointy stick that you have sharpened yourself as the possible utensil for your professional advancement. I guess we'll get the hell out of here, because the music freaks me out and it makes me upset. And there it is. They turn it off just like that. This little agave plant or whatever the hell that is. I wonder if we're going to be able... I'm really hoping they expand the herbalism too. I love herbalism in video games. For example, in Miasmata, I love that you could run around and just like find stuff and you had to figure out what it did. I enjoyed the same thing in Skyrim, although to a lesser extent, because Skyrim you didn't have to put it in a machine. This looks like a trap. What is that? Ew. It's a thumb bush. Gnarly. Although I guess you could supposedly say that it has a decent green thumb at this point. Meh. That's about the best that I could do with the pun right now. Let's head back to base. And I'm thinking that by the time we get back there and we cook ourselves some dinner, we should be about ready to break off the episode. I'm going to try and pay attention to the direction that I approach my camp from so that I can draw a straight line from here and get back to that fish pond. I don't know if the fish respawn. I hope that they do because I could use an endless supply of food. It's a little bit of a hike to get there. And in fact, we are pretty far out in the sticks right now. Still, nonetheless, having a run on some location where we can get fish consistently is a good start to making our life a bit easier. Let me run up this hill right now. I realize it's probably not making my character very happy. I hate running up hills. Ugh. We used to have to do that in all of my PE classes. We had this giant steep hill next to our school back in the day, and that was the thing the coach always used to make us do. We had to run up this enormous hill 10 times during our hour-long PE, and it got rough. It'd tear your legs up. Your legs were looking pretty shredded by the time you had done it for about a half a semester. Looking definitely on the jagged end of the spectrum for how them leg muscles were looking. Your legs were looking ropey, I guess, and I don't know if your legs are supposed to look like ropes or not. I'm not sure if that's an aesthetic appeal that exists or is a thing. We actually explored all day. We're going to be getting back into camp right around nighttime. Hopefully we don't run into it. Let me get a weapon ready in case we do. I'm going to rock the flare gun right here in case we do come across any enemies in the darkness. Can't see worth ass right now. Get a flashlight out. Flashlight appears to still be bugged. Yeah, I don't know what it is about the flashlight. It bugs out from time to time. Little camp over here and that weird blue flash. Oh god. Please don't fall through the world. Please don't fall through the world right now. I am begging you, please don't fall through the world. Okay. Awesome. One less thing to worry about. I don't know if we're actually going to find anything over here. What is that? Oh, it's just a stick? It looked like a gun for a second. I was like, oh my god, we found a shotgun. Hell yeah. I was about to just go on a killing spree. We were about to find somebody and ruin his cannibal day. There was no way he was coming out of this altercation without at least a few pellets up in that ass. Unfortunately, it's not a shotgun, and so all of that excitement was just wasted over nothing. All of that excitement is now gone and done for. I need to find some berry bushes or something. Fill myself back up before we get back to camp. Actually, our stomach's looking pretty full. Our hunger meter's looking perfectly fine. It's our stamina meter, so I think if we rest through the night, we should be alright. That's that little pit thing that we walked past before. It's like a quarry or something. God, that's a really, really long walk. I didn't realize we were that far out. So maybe there is something that far out away from our camp. I'm not sure. I'll probably spend a few minutes right here because it looks as though... What the hell has just happened? Oh my god. Okay, that was slightly horrifying. If that happened while I was walking through the forest, I'd be like, well, it's all over. I'm just going to lay down and die now. It is all over. I don't know what this means, but it can't mean anything good. So, in lieu of a real situation or a real explanation, I'm going to give myself a terrible, psychologically concocted one, because you know how those always work out. Ooh, what's over here? Ooh, blackberries. Yeah, let's fill up on them. It looks like they regrow pretty rapidly. I don't know if that's one of the bushes that we've already hit up. But Hopefully they replenish themselves. That would be a nice change. It'd be a little bit of a treat. And there is our lovely camp. So I think what I'm going to do right now is taking a look at my little stopwatch. It looks like we're just about out of time. I'm going to stockpile a few more logs. We'll start out the next episode by trying to complete our little fort and maybe making a couple effigies. And then beyond that point, I think we've just about seen most of the gameplay. So anyways, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care out there, everybody, and hi-do.